Okay, let's take you back to Sanford, Florida, as we've been following this trial. Pretty stunning testimony the last couple of days, specifically from this 19-year-old Rachel Jeantel. She was on the stand the majority of the day today, and she was asked many, many questions by this defense co-counsel by the name of Don West. So let me just play you one snippet of what they discussed today, really just about the racial nature of the case. Here you go.
And you didn't have any information from the news that this was a racially charged event?
No, I had to down and watch the news.
Okay. Are you okay this morning?
Yeah.
You seem so different than yesterday. I'm just checking. Did someone talk with you? Yes. Did someone talk with you last night about your demeanor in court yesterday?
No, I went to sleep.
Could you tell me how wet grass sounds?
Wet, like leaf, rolling all over.
When you describe the sound as you could hear wet grass, what is it that you actually heard that led you to make that opinion?
Somebody rolling on top of the grass.
Asked what wet grass sounds like. That was Don West asking this question of this young woman today. Holly Hughes, Ryan Smith, and also Mark NeJame joining me from Florida. And Mark, let me just begin with you here. And we're going to continue to play a little bit more. But we've asked so many different people, and I'm so curious your opinion. Let's just begin with the questioning, and specifically those questions from Don West today. The have you talked to someone? Because clearly her demeanor was very different than it was yesterday. And this question about what does wet grass sound like? Was that fair?
Yes, I think it's very fair. It's cross-examination. You've got a young man, a young teenager who's lost his life, and you've got another person who may spend the rest of their life in prison. I think that this is exactly what cross-examination is supposed to be about. She said that she heard wet grass. You know, that's just not believable. She also said today that nobody had coached or talked to her about her testimony today versus her testimony yesterday. I'm sorry, what she's saying today is exactly the way you train and you teach and you get witnesses ready for trial. Or you tell them that you don't answer anything other than what's asked of you. So yesterday she went into a long dissertation, and today she's doing exactly what she's supposed to do, and her demeanor changed as well. No, I think she was talked to, and I don't think she was being truthful again.
What about also just the role of race in this trial? I think I heard Sonny Hostin say it, yesterday, race is really just sort of the elephant in the room, and it was the defense team specifically who fought not to have the word racial removed from the phrase racial profiling. Yet it seemed to me, and in talking to some legal experts today, the fact that, this whole discussion opening the door into race in this trial when she was discussing her phone call with Trayvon Martin, the three little words that she said that Trayvon Martin used to describe George Zimmerman. How did you perceive that?
I think there's two areas there. The first is that the state has been, I think it's a great state prosecution team. I think they're excellent lawyers. With that said, they've been very artful in their approach on the race issue. Remember the judge's pretrial ruling. She's saying that they can use the word profile, but they can't just talk about race. But race is one part of the overall profiling. So we know now that the 5 other calls that Zimmerman made are coming into evidence from the judge's ruling. And 4 of those specifically identify a black male as the people that he was calling in. So the state's been very artful to really raise the issue of race, but to do it through the back door. So I think then the second part of that is that I think that the defense is in fact starting a bit of a character assassination on Trayvon Martin. They're trying to portray him not as the sweet Boy Scout that many have picked up the idea of from the media over the last year, but in fact that he was something different than that, and by his colorful language and by the people that he was associating with and the way he was talking is something that will, I think the defense hopes, not endear him stronger to the hearts of the jurors. So I think it's a twofold process that the defense is attempting to do there.
There was another word she used today, Mark NeJame, and I want to ask you about this on the other side of the break, along with these two here in studio with me, the R word. She used the R word when she was speaking to Don West, saying, are you, and I'm quoting her, are you retarded? How did that go? And how would that sit with these 6 female jurors? That's next.
Maybe if he decided to assault George Zimmerman, he didn't want you to know about it.
That's real retarded, sir. That's real retarded to do that, sir. When you don't know the person.
NeJame, let's begin with you. Quick thoughts. The R word used here, another offensive term. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, what else do you say about that? She's used a slew of offensive terms, and either the jury's going to forgive her, realizing that's just her, or they're going to say this is unacceptable and she doesn't have the credibility necessary to prove somebody guilty beyond a reasonable doubt with her testimony. And I've got to believe that in light of the juries that have been picked, the jurors have been picked, 2 are in their 30s, 2 are in their 40s, and 2 are in their 30s, 2 are in their 50s, 2 are in their 60s. I just can't believe that they're going to find this to be acceptable conduct and that she's going to have any credibility.
You agree? You talked credibility earlier. With this word specifically?
Right.
Does that hurt her?
Very specifically to this, just because she's not likable doesn't mean they can't find her credible. These are mothers. They understand you try and teach your children manners. We would like them to always be polite and say the right thing. Just because they don't necessarily describe things properly doesn't mean they're not telling you a true story. It comes down to likability versus credibility. I think they can dislike her and still find her credible.
Holly Hughes, thank you.
Thanks.
NeJame, my thanks to you here. Quick break, more live coverage of the George Zimmerman trial out of Sanford, Florida after this.